So this is a collection of engravings by a printmaker named Wojciech Jakubowski. Please excuse the pronunciation on that. I'm not quite sure how it's pronounced. I did look at Google, but it wasn't exactly helpful and a bit inconclusive. Yeah, I didn't really get any answers out of it. So the design of this, the outer packaging is very simple. You've got this lovely sleeve. Everything's quite simple on the outside, but well made. But on the inside, I have to say, it's beautiful work on the inside. It's outside, it's very deceiving. And here we have it. It's very opens up in this lovely way. The thing with these kind of things, if I can take all the pictures in the world, but without video and actually seeing it in the person, its beauty can be a bit lost on you. So it comes with this booklet on the inside, which is in Polish and German. And I cannot read Polish and German like all good Brits. My language skills are very minimal, but I do know that this says this is an edition of 80, and this is the 63rd of those editions, and it's signed by the artist there. Even this booklet is just, the quality of this paper is gorgeous. I'm sure there's some wonderful things being said in here, and could tell me so much more about the artist. But I have absolutely no idea what it says. There's also an index with the order of the prints, which I might have muddled by now ever so slightly, so I'll have to be cross-referencing that later. And these engravings are copper-plated etchings. So you have a copper plate, and you carve it into that, and I'm not fully familiar with copper etching, but it might be quite similar to the etching I've done. And so you roll over the top with a layer of ink. You clean the plate after so the ink kind of settles into the engraved carvings, and you then clean it, make sure it's nice and the surface is clean of the print. So just the bits you've carved into will print. So these are used with incredibly fine lines on this. I did originally think it might be wood engravings because they're so small, and wood engravings tend to be quite small and very detailed, but the detail on this is so fine. It's almost like crosshatch, basically. So it's incredible and mind-blowing, and it's quite abstract motifs. And I was talking with my one of the printing technicians at my university, and he was saying that these are sort of little bookmarkers to go in front of your book to say who this book belongs to. And it's quite amazing to think there's so much detail and time and energy going into something with quite a simple function. And I think he was sort of explaining it. You can tell through what it says here, ex libris, which might be Latin. It sounds like it could be Latin. The wonderful thing with Latin is it doesn't matter how you pronounce it, because no one knows how to pronounce it, as it's a dead language and no one speaks it, so I can pronounce it however I want. But it's just so that this detail is so incredibly mind-blowing, and my tutor was completely amazed by it as well. We were just sort of awe-stricken. I actually found these in Oxfam, in the charity bookshop that we have here. And there's a collector's cabinet, and so these were priced and shown as collection items. I didn't just find these randomly for £1. I paid good money. It was still a good deal, to be honest, but I paid good money for these. So it is my new treasure. But I wasn't ripping somebody off, you'll be pleased to know. As you can, sometimes you can stumble across these in car boot sales in frames, and the idea is you just look interested in the frame to get this for a good deal, and you're like, oh, that's a lovely frame, I think I will buy that. I will ignore the fact that there's a wonderful, incredibly expensive print on the inside of this, and you can tell it's an original print by the indentation that the plate makes. So the plate makes, when you print onto it, there'll be a mark and border around the edge of the paper where the plate's been and pressed into, as so you sort of get the relief with using of the print from the plate using pressure, and you can get sort of different types of presses, and you can just see the mark that the pressure has had on the print. And this one the realistic nature of this is absolutely incredible, really. It's magnificent. And even, you know, they've got the tiny little artist mark right up here. It's ever so tiny, and I have quite long skinny fingers, but that, you know, shows you incredible precision that's gone into getting these lines so exact and precise. I mean, that's done with it. So there's all these tiny little lines going into the shading and tone. This, you might be able to, I mean, this gives you a clear an idea of the technique that's going into it, so a bit more spaced out some of these lines. And again, you've got that ex libris, and then the name of whoever the book belongs to. There's some very interesting ones, lots of them got very natural forms in there, so lots of trees and plants, birds, animals. Oops, you got some figures in there as well from time to time. And it's just remarkable amount of imagination going into them and creativity. I'm trying to find a particular one. Oh, this one is incredibly mind-blowing. So I struggle, I'm actually short-sighted, so I can see things up close quite well without my glasses. But this is so incredibly hard for my eye to focus on. There's so much going on here. It's so hard to see what's being depicted because it's so tiny. But it's just mind-blowing that this is possible, and to get a beautiful clean print, because often when you're going this refined to clean a plate like that, you risk kind of getting kind of almost like a smudge effect, but this guy pulls it off really well, and I really want to research more into this printmaker. But this particular piece, you might think, oh, they're just kind of dashed lines, but actually all these lines are cross-hatched. There's tiny little lines going into all of these, what almost looks like a dashed line. So you've got this sort of very precise and well-formed feathers up here, moulding down into almost something quite abstract and peculiar. I mean, that looks like a flying sausage dog. I mean, I don't really know what's going on there, but it's very lovable. And there's just so much that goes on here, and there's a couple in here as well that are come with a sort of artist proof. Oh, I think it's this one. Yeah. Or a printmaker's proof, or whatever. A proof print, I think is what it's called. So you've got the official print, I guess, here, and the proof. And you can see that the inking on this one is ever so slightly heavier than this one, and a little bit muddier in places. So you hear like the lines fuse together more and look a bit almost muddier. And you like to use more technical terms here. And here you can see the lines a bit more spaced out. But it's just so lovely to even just to feel original prints. You can just feel the texture on the ink as well. So that's another way to tell if it's an original print. Just the feel of it. You can feel the ink on this. You can feel the ridges of the lines. It's just magnificent. There's so many. There's 50 in here to go through. I couldn't possibly go through them all. I don't have that much time. But I hope you enjoyed the little snapshot into this wonderful work, and hopefully I'll continue to post about this printmaker because I'm intrigued now and I want to do far more research into him. And if anyone can speak or read, preferably read Polish or German, do let me know, because I would love to translate that booklet without getting stuck with Google.